San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Thursday to everybody in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan, in the 11 o'clock hour following the roundtable. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Man, we got a lot to talk about today on the show. First hour is going to be all Padres. We got NFL talk coming up later on. We got an NFL game tonight. Padres are off today. We're going to recap the Crucial 42, what happened for the Padres in those Crucial 42 games. Got a little bit more conversations of college football with Skyler. We'll get your fantasy football lineup set with Eddie Brown to finish up the show. But lots to dive into as we start talking about Padres and playoff baseball. I mean, you got to look at where the Padres are at right now. And again, you could look at the standings. You could look at the scores. Last night, and this is why it's so hard to pass people in the standings. I kept saying this all the time. I said it for the last couple of months. Unless you do something as crazy as Cleveland did, which we're going to get to, it's hard to pass teams in the standings in Major League Baseball. You want to know why? The last 2 days basically told you why. The last 2 days. Think about the last 2 days. The Padres won 2 days ago against Milwaukee. They won 7-0 over the Brewers. And everything that needed to happen happened for the Padres 2 days ago, right? The Dodgers lost, made it a 1.5 game deficit behind LA. The Cubs lost, made it a 1.5 game deficit behind the Cubs. Everything worked out for the Padres. And then yesterday, nothing worked out for the Padres. They had a home run robbery early in the game. Xander Bogaerts could have got the game started off with a 3-run homer. Brewers make a good play, don't get the run there. They tie the game late with Jackson Merrill, a couple of their bullpen arms, and Adrian Morejon and Jeremiah Estrada, two guys that look like they've pitched a lot this year. A little tired out there last night or yesterday. Morejon gives up the lead. Jeremiah Estrada gives up the insurance run. Padres go down in order in the bottom half of the ninth inning. They lose the game to Milwaukee, thinking, hey, well, you know what? You can still stay 1.5 games back. Cubs beat the Mets last night, bludgeoned the Mets last night. And then the Dodgers outlast Arizona in extra innings, the thing that they didn't do the day before. So you went from everything going the Padres' way on Tuesday to nothing going the Padres' way on Wednesday. So that's the flip. And in 2 days, you're back right where you started after Monday night. 2.5 back from Chicago, 2.5 back from the Dodgers. Now, here's the thing. We talked about this yesterday. You're going to need the Dodgers to basically lose every game from here on out. So take that for what it's worth. But in terms of the Cubs, again, you are going to be playing Chicago. That's a given. You're going to be playing the Cubs. Now, whether or not it's there or here remains to be seen, but I would probably say 90% chance you're going to be playing in Chicago. This weekend, the Padres have to go 3-0. And the Cubs starting today, this afternoon, because they are playing this afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, against the Mets. Cubs have to lose today, and then they have to go 1-2 over the weekend against St. Louis. That would give them their 2-3 stretch over the last 5. So Padres have to sweep the Diamondbacks. Cubs got to go 2-3. That's basically what you would need to happen to host on Tuesday. So unless you think the Cubs are going to lose the today and then twice over the weekend in St. Louis, might as well start packing your bags for Chicago. And that's where it lays out. We talked about it, and as we get into it, that's why a lot of the time we today on the morning show discussing how you can enjoy the games this weekend. And you can. Now's a good time to go. I mean, there's still tickets available, limited shows available, or limited tickets available for the weekend. Go watch the Padres and enjoy it. Because there's really not much to play for this weekend. And I think this afternoon will really determine it. Because if the Cubs win today over New York, they have to get swept by St. Louis, and you have to sweep the Diamondbacks. And that's the only way that anything changes from where you're at right now in the standings. So there's really nothing to play for this weekend. And the thing is, and Neil says in the chat, kind of hope the Cubs win today so we can rest everyone. I think the Padres are going to rest players regardless. I don't think they're really going to be going gung-ho right now. They just lost Laureano for at least the wild card series, and I don't know the extent of the fracture. But the fracture of the finger, a finger, right? That's what they said officially, a fracture. I mean, that usually takes a little bit of time. That's not going to be like a week and then he's back. I don't know the significance of it. At least the guy doesn't think like Laureano's intense. I don't think he's Ronnie Lott intense where he's going to chop his finger off to go out there and play. Probably not. Probably needed to throw. But that being said, I would not expect him to be back. They already ruled him out for the wild card series. I honestly would not expect him to be back in the divisional series either. You're going to have to learn how to win without Ramón Laureano. And the only thing that makes it difficult is the fact that the Cubs' top two starters are both lefties. Two lefties that looked pretty good against you earlier in the year. Now, that being said, that lineup the Padres had in Chicago the last time they played, slightly different than the lineup than they have now, even without Laureano. It's still really different. That first game, I remember that first game. I was driving up to UCLA to meet USD up there because they had a 3-game series against UCLA in baseball. That's this season. That was back in April. That's how long ago it was the last time the Padres played in Chicago. Martin Maldonado hit a home run in that game. Otherwise, they would have got shut out in that first game on Friday in Chicago. The weekend series that they had. Go back to it. When they played at Chicago, that first game, they lost 3-1. And that one run was a Martin Maldonado home run. This is the lineup they rolled out. Fernando Tatis Jr., Luis Arraez, Manny Machado. That's pretty much the same. Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill, Yuli Gurriel, Jake Cronenworth, Brandon Lockridge, Martin Maldonado. The pitching staff that day, Randy Vasquez, Yuki Matsui, Alec Jacob, and Wandy Peralta. They lost 3-1 to Chicago. It's a long time. They played these guys a long time ago. I like the way that they match up now more than they did a while ago. And again, remember, the Cubs pitching staff is not that great. Then you talk about Saturday's result. The last time they're in Chicago, look at that Saturday, April 5th. Look at the lineup. They had Fernando bat leadoff, Arraez, Machado, Bogaerts, Merrill, Gurriel, Cronenworth, Lockridge, Elias Diaz, Jason Hayward came in as a pinch hitter. Jose Iglesias played. A little bit of Gavin Sheets. You had Nick Pivetta, Omar Cruz, Alec Jacob, Wandy Peralta. This is a lineup that was not even close to being a playoff level lineup. So that was the lineup you threw against their two lefties. The lineup you threw against Imanaga on that Friday, and the lineup you threw against Matthew Boyd on that Saturday. You threw Vasquez and Pivetta. Pivetta did not look very good in that game. Pivetta was 3 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. I'm pretty sure those games were freezing too, by the way. They have the weather. It was under 50 degrees. It was 49 degrees at first pitch, wind blowing 10 miles an hour, and it was cloudy. Then you got the Sunday, able to survive the series, salvage it. Your Sunday lineup, Tatis, Arraez, Machado, Merrill, Cronenworth, Bogaerts, Sheets, Hayward, Diaz. You pitched Kyle Hart. Remember the bullpen day? that saved everybody. Logan Gillespie, Adrian Morejon, Jeremiah Estrada, Jason Adam, Robert Suarez. You actually got to throw your 4 guys in the back before Mason Miller, and you end up winning the game on a comeback. After Kyle Hart gave up 5 runs in the first inning, and the Padres were down 7-3 after the first 2 innings. You look at the Cubs, I mean, they got a good lineup, but they've been struggling too. And the whole thing about this entire playoff situation that we're about to embark on is you talk to any fan and any other fan base, and guess what? They're freaking out right now. How confident do you think Dodger fans are in the Dodgers right now watching them play against Arizona? Watching their bullpen fall apart every single night? Probably not very confident. How confident do you think Brewers fans are right now after coming to San Diego getting punched in the mouth for 2 straight days? You know, it looks like for Milwaukee, for the last week that they've had, looks like they might have peaked too early. Anybody else say that? Frank, did we say that? Did we say that? I think we did, like about a month ago, and everybody's freaking out, the Brewers, the Brewers, the Brewers. Brewers might have peaked too early. Philadelphia's got some pitching problems too, although they're starting to really turn it around right now. Phillies fans are always confident anyway, so they're never going to not be confident. I already need to ask the question about Mets fans, Diamondbacks fans, Reds fans. I mean, the Reds, again, being gift-wrapped an opportunity to make the playoffs by the Mets, and they just cannot take advantage of it as they struggle against Pittsburgh right now. At home, by the way. And that game just got underway. I mean, Pittsburgh's been just giving it to the Reds the last 2 days, making them earn a playoff spot. And then you talk about the Cubs. I mean, we're talking about a team that has had guys like Pete Crow Armstrong get benched for a couple of days because of the lack of play. He had Kyle Tucker, same thing. He's been injured the last couple of weeks. They don't have a bullpen like San Diego does. So that's just the National League. Jake Waters talking about Tigers fans right now. I mean, Tigers fans have to be in like such dismay of the 15.5 game lead they had on Cleveland just getting evaporated, which seems like overnight. Now, we'll get to the American League in just a little bit. But let me know how you feel. I mean, nothing's going to change. You got the Cubs on Tuesday. That's basically what it is. I mean, you can pay attention as much as you want. You can hold out for hope for the Cubs, go 1-3, or should I say 2-2 in their next 4 games? No, 1-3 in their next 4 games. They got to go 1-3 in their next 4 games in order to flip it. How do you feel? And now you don't have Laureano. We'll talk more about that too. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to get to your phone calls. We're going to talk more about what it means that the fact that Ramón Laureano is now not going to be part of the Padres playoffs at the beginning of the season, beginning of the postseason. How do you feel as a Padres fan? This is it. I mean, you have nothing to play for this weekend. You got to hope that the Cubs lose 3 out of the next 4 if you want to flip anything, and you got to sweep. You're locked into the 5 seed. You're going to Chicago on Tuesday. And really, after the game on Sunday, you're flying to Chicago. Tell me how you feel, Padres fans. How was the season? We evaluated that during the roundtable, gave our letter grades. I give them a B+. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll be back with your phone calls and talk about the impact of not having Ramón Laureano for this series against the Cubs, going against 2 left-handers in Game 1 and Game 2 of the NL Wild Card. We're just getting started. Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. It's a Roundtable Thursday, so I tried to scarf down some Roundtable during the break. Anyway, all right, let's talk about yesterday. I thought yesterday was kind of a synopsis of the Padres season. It was the missed opportunity yet again. And what I mean by that is And we talked about this on the roundtable. If you missed the roundtable, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. We're going to re-air it. Are we going to re-air it today?
I believe so. I put it in there, whether we do or not. So
it's going to be like earlier, probably. We got NFL football tonight. Seahawks and Cardinals.
No clue.
Westwood Wood.
It's ready to be replayed if it is being replayed.
All right. Well, stay tuned for that during Gwen and Chris. If not, you can listen to it on the Odyssey app, on the Rewind function. You can go on podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find it on all of our YouTube pages. It's already probably on the Braden Surprenant Show YouTube page as well. Go check it out. If you haven't done so already, the first link in the description below, if you're not watching on my page, you can click it at B_SURP, youtube.com. And you can watch on our page as well. Be sure to subscribe. Anyway, I thought yesterday was the epitome of the Padres season. Because so many times in these last 2 months, the Padres have been given an opportunity to take over the division. Or they had been given the opportunity to take the top wild card spot. And every time they get to the top of the mountain, as talked about by Tony Gwynn Jr. today, they seem to just fall a little bit. I think that's been the reason. I think that's been really the case for the entire season. And that's why when asked on the roundtable about what your letter grade is for the season, I give them a B+. I give the Padres a B+. Tony and Chris and Woods, they want to give them A's. What justifies an A? What justifies an A for the season? To me, justifying an A is taking care of business and getting the job done and taking the most of the opportunities given to you and executing on those. I thought they had a great season. I think it's great. But to me, it's still a B+. They could have been so much better. That's the thing that's frustrating. They even talked about it in terms of like biggest takeaway. They could have offensively been way better this year. They never, as Tony Gwynn Jr. put, and I totally agree, they never got it going at all this year. They'd have like 3 or 4 days where they would put a couple of good games together, and then that's it. I don't know how you can justify the season as an A, even though, to me, they did exceed the expectations. Remember, I had them at 86 wins going into the season on our predictions. I still have the predictions on here. The worst part was I totally whiffed on Toronto. Toronto came out of nowhere. I thought Kansas City might give Detroit a run, but they failed yet again. Texas failed. Same with like Houston.
Bless you.
But anyway, I had the Padres at 86 wins. They're going to finish with more than 86 wins. So from that perspective, they exceeded the expectations. I think a lot of people thought the Padres would be around 80-something wins. Frank, at the beginning of the season, how many wins do you think the Padres would have?
I thought it was going to be like 84, 85.
84, 85, sneaking into the play, getting the 5 or the 6 in the playoffs.
Backing into the 6th spot. Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. I think some people might have saw the expectations change when they went out to a 14-3 start. But the reality is you knew they were going to go on those runs. Unfortunately, it just happened to be early in the season. Therefore, you thought they could potentially do some things. I think they missed an opportunity to potentially steal the division for the Dodgers. But I do not agree with saying they choked the division away. No. If the Dodgers would have not won the division, they would have choked it away. They're expected to win it. The Padres weren't expected to win it. The Padres never had a big lead in the division. When they did have the division at the top, it was either super early in the year or a couple of times they were at the top by like a game max. I don't think they were ever that far in front. Our good friends at Baseball Reference can really point that out for us, going on the schedule and results. But I'm telling you, I don't think they had any type of massive lead in the division. The highest lead that they had in the division all season long was up by a game and that was it.
Game and a half back on April 16th.
Yeah, April 16th. From April 12th to the 16th, they were up a game and a half. That was it. To me, that's not choking the division. They had a chance to catch them. The Padres had a chance to pass LA. That doesn't mean they choked it away. They missed out on an opportunity. It wasn't theirs to lose. It was the Dodgers to lose. So from that perspective, again, I can't give them an A. I give them a B plus though, because you won you won 86. What are they at? 87 games right now.
87.
They're at 87. The most they can win is 90 games. Anything over than 87 games, to me, is that's successful. You made the play. Making the playoffs is a successful season. It's a successful regular season. There's only 6 teams that make the playoffs in the National League. Make it the play. Enjoy it, Padres fans. Again, this is the golden era of Padres baseball. But yesterday, another opportunity where they could win and put the pressure on Chicago to win and put the pressure on LA to win. I mean, that added pressure does some serious damage come postseason time. Teams can't play with pressure. It's hard to do. This is a sport that is so difficult to play. It's based on failure. It's hard to win when you have the pressure to have to go out there and win. And the Padres failed to do that yesterday and put the pressure on Chicago and LA. Does it really matter? Not really. It doesn't really matter. You can't be overly upset about it because at the end of the day, if we've talked about it before with Eno Saris on these airwaves, the playoffs are a crapshoot. You just got to get in and you never know what's going to happen. And that's exactly what the goal was for the Padres at the beginning of the season. What was the goal of the Padres in spring training? To make the playoffs. That was the goal. Yeah, it'd be nice to achieve more than just your one goal, go to above and beyond. But to say that it was a failure or like they failed to do a couple of things, I don't think that's really fair. It's not. They made the playoffs. That was what needed to happen. But I don't give them an A because they were kind of at least after the deadline, they were expected to make the playoffs. And they could have played a lot better throughout the season. That's why I give them a B plus. What's your letter grade, Frank, for the regular season? I know there's 3 games left, but it doesn't really matter. You're locked into the 5 seed. Nothing's really going to change. You can play spoiler with the Diamondbacks, but the regular season's over. We're moving on to playoff baseball here on Tuesday. How do you evaluate the regular season?
I would give it a B plus as well for a lot of the reasons that you gave. There were so many missed opportunities over the course of the year.
That's from the negative side.
But also from the same reasons why Tony and Woodsy gave them A's, because there really was no point this year where the whole rotation was there. There was really no point at this year where the whole lineup was there for an extended period of time. There was always somebody missing somewhere in a big, meaningful position. And to still be able to accomplish the goal is great. That's some might call it an overachievement, that they were able to exceed the amount of expected wins that they were supposed to have this year with somebody missing in a crucial point in every facet of the game, whether it be from Michael King being out, Darvish wasn't there. Of course, you knew you were going to be without Joe Musgrove this year. Then you had the blow of Jason Adam in the bullpen in a place where you really didn't have any big injuries all year. And that was a key to why the Padre bullpen was so good, was because you didn't have one of your big guys going down with an injury. As far as the lineup goes, you had Fernando out for a period of time. Merrill was start, stop until this most recent injury where he hasn't gone back on the IL. Bogart's hurt. Cronenworth had a stint on the IL. You've had guys all over the place getting hurt and going down, and not at the same time either. So you were never at 100% full strength, and to still come out the way you did, I would say that bumps the grade up a little bit from the negative of having so many opportunities missed, that I'd give it a B plus.
I give it a B plus too. I mean, they still had making the playoffs guarantees you a B, in my opinion, unless you've spent the amount of money the Dodgers have and you're expected to win the World Series.
Just making the playoffs at that point is not good.
You can't move the goalposts too far. And some people, I'd like to know. I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat that give them a C, give them a B minus, give them a C plus. I mean, what were your expectations? that you were going to win the division. You haven't done that since '06, and it doesn't really matter if you do or not. I'm not going to sit here and be a defender of the Padres, but the reality is, at the beginning of the season, you were expected to make the playoffs. They did. They achieved that goal. I think they were able to do it despite having the lineup that they had at the beginning of the season. They were winning baseball games with Jason Hayward and Martin Maldonado and having a black hole at the bottom of the lineup. They were able to win. There was a couple of times this season I go, I can't believe this team's winning games right now with the starting pitching that they had, with the lineup that they have, with the offense that they put out there. And so I think from that perspective, I think they played well. I mean, they were able to do it. They were able to win. I mean, think about, I just feel like sometimes we have these unrealistic expectations sometimes. The Padres hadn't made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons since 05 and 06. They achieved that this year for the first time in a long time. First time in almost 20 years, they are going to the playoffs for a back-to-back years. They haven't been able to do that. Prior to 2020, they had only made the playoffs 5 times. I mean, sometimes I feel like you have to realize what the organization is. I think making the playoffs guarantees you a B. I give them a B+ because they were able to achieve some things with some injuries throughout the year, with the lineup that they had, with the pitching that they had. And I don't give them an A because they could have played a lot better. I think all year they could have played a lot better. I think we were waiting for the power surge from a lot of guys that could hit for power that didn't do it. I think we were waiting for Manny Machado to really, hit his stride. I think the other thing that's disappointing was the starts that Fernando and Jackson Merrill had to the year. We were talking they're off to an MVP start. They were never really able to get it going. I mean, Jackson Merrill battling with injuries. I think there's some positives to that. I thought he did a good job managing everything that he had to deal with in the sophomore year. But also at the same time, negatively, your ability is your availability. And Jackson Merrill hadn't been very available this year. So that's why I give it around a B+.
And I saw some people saying in the chat, of course, injuries are a part of the game. Name me one point this year where the entire team was at full strength. Every team has everyone at full strength at some point, whether it be for a week, whether it be for a month. Every team has everyone at full strength for at least a stretch. Padres did not have that this year. There was always somebody out somewhere.
Yes. And, other teams have to deal with injuries and stuff like that too. But the reality is, they made the playoffs, and now they run. And people are freaking out about the weaknesses. You look around Major League Baseball, we keep bringing this up.
Everyone has the same weakness.
There's not a single fan base that's super stoked for the playoffs right now.
Nope.
Maybe Philly because they're blindly into their own team. But
stupid.
But again, their bullpen's not very good. They lost Zach Wheeler, who's a major piece of their starting rotation. Mets fans are not really excited about the playoffs. If they even make the playoffs.
That's an understatement.
Reds fans are struggling right now to make it through as they cannot beat the Pirates to try to clinch this playoff spot. I mean, go through it, man. There's not a lot of teams not a lot of fan bases that are excited for the playoffs, which is crazy to me. So who's going to win this thing? Dodger fans, definitely not excited about their team right now. There is nobody excited about their team going into the playoffs. Look at the American League. Toronto is messing it up against Boston right now and about to lose their division lead. Aside from arrogant Yankee and Phillies fans who are just like Cowboys fans, they live in a fantasy land, there's not a single fan base that's excited for the playoffs. Not one. Everybody's miserable. Yeah, that's amazing to me. Everybody, every fan base in baseball right now is miserable going into the playoffs about how they're going to lose. I mean, maybe we just got to change our attitude as fans. Hey, you know what? Stop being worried about defeat. Just go out there and roll the dice and see what your team's got. Enjoy the ride. Otherwise, you're just going to be miserable the whole time. And only one fan base is not going to be miserable. Be excited. It's okay to be nervous. Be excited. Don't bring the doom out because you start looking at every other team. There's a lot of teams out there that are not excited right now. A lot of fan bases that are not excited about their team in the playoffs. Ron La Mesa, Marcus, and Menifee we're going to get to when we come back. We'll also get to the sports thread as we are here in our first hour of the Braden Surprenant Show following the roundtable leading you into Gwen and Chris on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hey, come join us. Baja Rick's this Friday. Come and watch the show, grab something to eat, drink, win a prize. We'll be giving away autographed baseballs and tickets to the final series. Come on down, 176th Avenue, San Diego, California. Baja Rick's. We'll be there tomorrow from 10 to 2. At least the Braden Surprenant show will. Matt Scraby and Chris Ello will be there right after us for Gwyn and Chris as we lead you into the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show and the final weekend series of the year. Go get your tickets now. Limited tickets available this weekend for Hispanic Heritage celebration. Padres wanted us to let you know you still have time. Now's a great time. Go enjoy the game. Go enjoy the Padres game they're not playing for anything. Enjoy one of the last times you're going to be able to see them at home. And here's the thing. There's no guarantee that they play at home after this weekend. There's no guarantee. I'm telling you, they're going to be the 5 seed, unless the Cubs if the Cubs go 1-3 in their next 4, and the Padres go 4-0, the Padres aren't playing any home games at Petco Park for a while, even if they win. They're going to go to Chicago. They have to win 2 games in Chicago, and then after that, if they do win 2 games in Chicago, they're going straight to Milwaukee, and they got 2 games in Milwaukee before they finally come back to San Diego. That's if everything works out. I mean, if I look at the playoff schedule, I can even tell you the dates that they'd be back. I think they had playoff tickets available today, if I'm not mistaken.
I would assume it would be next Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly.
It would be Monday. No, it's game 2 on Monday. So you're looking at Wednesday.
So it would be Wednesday, Thursday then.
Yes. So if the Padres make it to the NLDS, they have to win in round 1. They got to beat the Cubs twice out of 3 games. Okay? If they're able to do that, the next time they're going to be at home is October 8th. And that's it. That would be the only guaranteed home game then too. Theoretically. So Padres have to win some games if you want to see them again at Petco Park. If not, go this weekend. There's a game tomorrow. There's a game Saturday. There's a game Sunday. Those are the final 3 games at Petco Park in 2025, guaranteed. They have to go to Chicago and win 2. And then in the divisional series, they got to win at least 1 in Milwaukee to guarantee a game 4 on Thursday, October 9th. But again, no guarantee. Getting down to the nitty-gritty time in the playoffs. So we'll see. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Want to get back to your phone calls. How would you evaluate the Padres season? A lot of people said a C. A C minus, a C plus. I mean, apparently we're too overzealous at the B plus, and we were the most. Frank and I's B plus is the most critical grade to give it on the round table. Everybody else gave out A's. Ben gave it a B plus too. I wouldn't give him anything in an A. You'd have to win the division for that, or host a playoff game. Missed opportunities throughout the year, but they still overcame a lot of other things too, like their lineup and everything like that. I don't buy the C. I just think that's being overly critical and having maybe potentially unrealistic expectations. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to get to the phone. Are you ready for the sports thread? I forgot it's the 11 o'clock hour. It's time to find out what else is going on in sports with today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do we got going on in the sports world today?
We hope you enjoy ripping on the Phoenix Suns, because that's what we're going to be doing for a good bit of
ripping
this.
on all Phoenix sports teams.
Yeah, so this is this story had me rolling yesterday. So the Phoenix Suns, while facing several lawsuits from current and former employees,
because their owner's crazy.
Yep. Told employees this spring that in order to retain their jobs, they need to sign an agreement limiting their ability to sue the team.
Hang on a second. So the people that have already sued, the team or trying to get their jobs back?
No. This is for current employees. So current employees, if
So
you
they
want
have
to
to
stay employed.
if you want to stay and not get fired.
Yes.
Because they don't want to get sued again.
Exactly right. Which apparently is becoming more and more of a common thing that companies are doing this. Like, hey, you will not sue us if we hire you. That's fun to hear. Suns employees were notified via email on May 27th that they'd be receiving a 2-part updated version of the team's employee handbook, Part A and Part B, with a request to review and agree to the terms within 3 days. Part A of the handbook was pretty much the same as the one that they had agreed to before, but Part B, a 4-page confidential information, intellectual property, and a dispute resolution agreement. The contents were described as contractual obligations, and the document noted that agreeing to them was, quote, a condition of your offer for employment and continued employment with the team. Employees were asked to head to an external website to acknowledge their understanding and acceptance of Part A and Part B of the handbook. This just screams, hey, we're a fun place to work, doesn't it?
Aren't most companies like that, though? I think like most corporate America, I think you have to do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
not
becoming
out of the
more.
realm of
It's becoming more
here.
popular. It is.
Here's the thing that I have to say about just jobs in general. And look, I get it. It's a lot of things that people don't like. But the reality is, it's like at some point when you signed on to do said job, you were okay with everything to do said job. That could be compensation. That could be what's in the contract, everything like that. If you don't like it, unfortunately, you could go work somewhere else. But the reality is there's not a lot of places out there that are just going to let you do a lot of these things anymore. So what was in the handbook? I mean, is there anything like outrageous in there, or
not
it's just
not
don't
that it went
sue us?
into detail, but
I
it was
mean,
pretty
most of
much
the contracts that I've signed in terms of like working for companies, including Starbucks, was all the same stuff. Don't sue us for this. Don't sue us for that. Now, there are some rights of the employers that they can sue companies for.
Yeah.
Like they're not scot-free here, even though they signed some stuff. So they're not. They can't abuse their employees, but to make all the current employees sign a new one is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that's obscene. It really is.
Number 2.
Part 2 to this. Defiant Phoenix Suns owner, that's how it's written.
Oh, boy.
Defiant Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishiba says he's not worried about multiple lawsuits his franchise is facing, with claims ranging from discrimination to wrongful termination. Ishiba calls the lawsuits, quote, a money grab at Suns Media Day yesterday. The franchise is being sued multiple times since 2024. Most recently, 2 minority owners of the Suns sued Ishiba in August, demanding to see records in order to investigate the status of the team's business and financial condition. Ishiba said, quote, as you guys know, anyone could file a lawsuit on any day they want for any reason they want. I could file a lawsuit for that question, right? But the truth is, you've actually got to win the lawsuit. He said on ESPN, he said, how many lawsuits have we lost? None. How many lawsuits are we going to lose? None. Thanks a lot, you arrogant jerk.
All right, so what? So they
Ish, but whatever. I don't.
Ishbia.
Great, wonderful.
All right, so he's getting sued by the other. He got sued by the other owners.
He got sued, of course, by the employees, which we have gone over.
Yeah,
and he's also been sued by minority owners to disclose financial information.
Yeah, it didn't sound like they're a well-run organization.
No,
it sounds like they're a circus. But I've heard all the Arizona organizations are a circus. I heard the worst one is the Cardinals. So take that for what it's worth. The Suns are still better than the Cardinals.
That's
as I've been told by people that
for
work in media in
the
Arizona.
NFL.
The Cardinals are the worst.
Speaking of the Arizona Cardinals,
Number 3.
quarterback Drew Brees and receiver Larry Fitzgerald were picked in their first year of eligibility as two of the nominees among the modern era players for the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Other nominees in the first year of eligibility are quarterbacks Phillip Rivers and Alex Smith, tight ends Greg Olson and Jason Witten, running backs Frank Gore and LaShawn McCoy, offensive linemen David DeCastro and Marquise Pouncey, defensive lineman Geno Atkins and Jarrell Casey, and linebacker Thomas Davis. A screening committee will reduce the candidates to 50 in October. Who do you expect to see in the NFL Hall of Fame this year?
You say Phillip Rivers is on there?
Rivers is on there, yes. This is his first ballot.
And so is Drew Brees?
Drew Brees is also on there, his first ballot.
I'd take both those guys for sure. I mean, you went through, like, how many you say, like 30?
Larry Fitzgerald,
Larry
he should get
on
in.
it. Yep.
Alex Smith, I don't think he's a first ballot.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
Greg Olson and Jason Witten.
They might make it for just being on TV.
Frank Gore and Shady McCoy.
Frank Gore, yes. Shady McCoy, no.
Devin DeCastro, Marquise Pouncey.
Marquise Pouncey, yes.
Geno Atkins and Jarrell Casey.
I'd have to look.
Thomas Davis.
No.
Those are some of the notable
first time on a
guys.
ballot.
Yeah.
You'll see. I just think I'm not a big Hall of Fame fan. I think Kurt Warner's in the Hall of very, very good, even though he made the Hall of Fame. I think being on television gets you in. I think that's why a lot of these guys jump on TV, and because who votes? Media. All of a sudden, they're friends. I think the process is biased. I think media people think they're super smart sometimes when they're not, and I think they show their biases sometimes.
Yeah,
especially with Hall of Fame votes. So to me, that's the case. I think Phillip Rivers is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He won 8 Super Bowls. Who cares?
Number 4.
It means nothing.
In news that would go to surprise absolutely no one, after getting hit in the face with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Tariq Skubal the other night, Guardians DH David Fry was released from the hospital yesterday and is resting comfortably. He was visited by his manager in the hospital Tuesday night, and Fry said Fry was in great spirits. The Guardians said imaging and clinical examination showed Fry sustained multiple minimally displaced fractures, left side facial and nasal fractures. A timeline for his recovery is about 6 to 8 weeks and no need of surgery. So not good for David Fry, but
not good for David Fry.
Not worse than what we would have expected, which was facial fractures after getting hit in the face with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Incredibly scary. So hoping for the best recovery there. I mean, I hit in the face by a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Flush.
Crazy.
Flush too.
Crazy.
Like it was not a glancing blow.
Oh no, he got drilled.
Number 5.
I'd like to talk more about this when we come back.
Yes.
You could set it up.
The future format of the college football playoffs remains undecided after CFP's management committee briefly met about it yesterday at the Big Ten headquarters. The group met for more than 4 hours in a regularly scheduled business meeting, but spent only about 20 minutes talking about the format for 2026 and beyond. CFP leaders have contractual obligation to let ESPN know by December 1st if they want to expand the field beyond 12 games.
We're going to talk about that when we come back. We'll also get to Ron and La Mesa, Marcus and Menifee. Get your phone calls as we start the noon lunchtime hour. We know who that's sponsored by. Where are the tacos at? We'll talk about it next. Braden Surprenant Show, Savings Number Sports Station 97 to the Fan. Noon lunchtime hour on 97 through the Fan is brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors at 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
Where are the tacos at? Jeremiah Estrada did not look very good yesterday. Maybe he needs more tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
I think Jeremiah Estrada needs a couple of days off. He looks like he could use some rest. They've been using him so much. Him and Morejon. I would love to see Jeremiah Estrada and Morejon not pitch at all this weekend. Get him ready for Tuesday. We need him for Tuesday. You want to know why? Give Jeremiah the 4 days off and get him ready for the organization that cut him. Did you see what he like the last time they played Chicago? When he mowed down their lineup and then looked straight at, he knew exactly where they were sitting. Let Estrada eat tacos because he wants the tacos, like our clip says. Give him the 3 days off. Have him ready for Tuesday. We need they all need to be quoting Bill Belichick. We're on to Chicago. We're on to Chicago. We're on to Chicago. That's what he needs to do. All right. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We get some of your phone calls. And I got a sports question for you guys. I need Frank's take on this. I need everybody else's take on this. Maybe I'm in the minority here. I don't think I am. And by the way, I want to tell everybody, I don't really care. I gatekeep fandom all the time. I'm not nice with the fandom thing. I don't need people, running their mouth about the team that they jumped on the bandwagon with that have no affiliate. Oh, because it's easy. Some of us had to suffer through San Diego sports. Okay, it's not hard. It's not easy to do. So just jumping back to back and being a bandwagon to Windsock, it's easy to do that. I have a sports question that's on that topic, but I'm going to get to that in a second. Let's get out to our resident Big 12 fan, Kansas State Wildcat, Ron in La Mesa, also a big Padres fan. Ron, what's going on?
Yeah, it's no Big 12 today, Braden. It's all Padres talk right today.
Kansas State starts 1-3, and all of a sudden Ron in La Mesa doesn't want to talk about his Wildcats anymore. Come on, Ron. I've got to go with the present day. That's right.
Braden.
That's
we
right.
play Saturday.
That's right. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
I'm going to break it up here. Man, you're messing my dig up here. Come on, man.
All right, Ron, go ahead.
So I gotta give the Padres a B, but in caveat to that, I want to give management an A+. Because if it wasn't for management bringing those players in at the All-Star break, I don't think we'd be where we are right now. So that's how I kind of break it up. So if you want to average those, a B+ in sounds probably pretty good. But the main thing I want to talk about, Braden, is fandom. You brought it up to me. Folks, let's think about what it was. I was here from 91 to present day. We were totally irrelevant except for a few years here and there. But since Peter Seidler came in and his group, we are relevant, Braden. The San Diego Padres are relevant. We're going to the playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is. But the players or the fans are also relevant because there's what making the team. So what I need everybody to do is go, what would you rather have? Would you rather be the Chicago White Sox or the Padres of old, where, you go to a game just because you can go to a game and drink a beer? You don't really care about the game. Now we're relevant. We're filling the stadium up 68 times this year. Folks, this is what baseball's all about. And I really want to see you get our fans going, because I guarantee you, most of those fans giving us a C are Dodger fans. They just like to bombard our airwaves just to have fun. This team and this organization right now going forward, we have everything to thank Peter Seidler for. And yeah, I work for the organization, so I'm a little excited. But what I've seen the last 5 years, Braden, is a team that is going to win every year and give us that chance to get into the playoffs. And like you said, once we get in the playoffs, who the hell knows what's going on?
Absolutely wrong. Couldn't say it better myself. I appreciate the phone call. I totally agree. I mean, there was a time like 8 years ago that I would kill just to make the playoffs just make the playoffs. And how quickly I get away from that sometimes. But you have to view it as, again, I got this perspective. I totally agree with this perspective too, by the way. There's only 6 teams that make the playoffs every year in the National League. You're one of those 6 teams. There's no guarantee that it's going to have, you're never going to have the perfect formula you think you're going to get for a World Series run. So just because this team has some flaws to it doesn't mean you can't just be like, oh, well, we're going to get it. We have a better chance maybe next year. We just get a better chance the year after that. No. This is it. This is another chance to win a World Series. And there's a lot of teams that have snuck into the playoffs and have gone on to win a World Series. Texas and Arizona both went to the World Series 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. The Texas Rangers won the World Series 2 years ago. Snuck into the playoffs. The Nationals snuck into the playoffs, won the World Series in 2019. Philadelphia snuck into the playoffs as the 6th seed in 2022, made it to the World Series. You just never know what you're going to get. And the correlation, as Ben Higgins put out, between like playing hot down the stretch and not playing hot, it doesn't matter. The playoffs are a different animal. It starts anew. So even though you have some recency bias on like what everything played out in the season, everything flips, and now you got to deal with pressure, and teams have to deal with pressure, and not every team can handle pressure. And we've seen the Dodgers choke so many different times with that. It's hard to do. You get the ball to bounce your way. It's an imperfect game with a lot of failure built in. You never know which way the ball is going to bounce. You never know which way, guys are going to be able to get, starting pitcher doesn't have it that day. I mean, that's the thing about baseball. Their best guy, whoever you might be playing, might not have it that day. That happens. And all of a sudden, you're beating Tarek Skubal on a night you didn't think you'd be able to hang, right? Start looking at some of the pitchers in the National League you're going to have to deal with. I mean, Imanaga on Tuesday or whatever, I don't know how they're lining up, but their best pitchers are Imanaga and Boyd. They could have a bad day to get things started. And all of a sudden you jump on them 4 runs, and now they're playing, now the pressure's on Chicago. Same thing can happen to the Padres at any point in time. Playoffs are a different animal. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's go out to John Escondido. John, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
I'm doing well.
Hey, so my comment, right, is you talked about Hall of Fame, right? And I love sports, but I've never really been a Phillip Rivers fan. I thought he had good talent around him, a great running back, a great tight end, both Hall of Famers. But you had Jackson, who made phenomenal catches, and they got rid of him. But I just thought that he was just a sub-average quarterback. That if he had gone to New Orleans, I don't think they win a Super Bowl. If Drew Brees had stayed in San Diego, I think they win the Super Bowl. And so that's just my comment. I think he's a great person. I just don't think he's Hall of Fame. If you take it from what you hear, that it's who's the greatest quarterback in their time frame, right? He's not top 10. So thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. I totally disagree with John. Totally disagree with John. I mean, there's times he was throwing to Sehi Ajira-Tutu was like his number one receiver. Give him threw 3 touchdowns to him. And down in Houston. Just learned his name like that week. They had some good players, but a lot of those receivers went elsewhere and didn't play to the high level that they had when they were with Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But he won't be because he played in San Diego and for the Chargers. That's why he won't be in the Hall of Fame. But that's the reality of it. He was nails. I mean, he played with a lot of good players. He played with a lot of bad teams that the Chargers put together. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. And the Drew Brees thing. There's no guarantee that if Drew Brees was still a Charger, they would have won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees. I mean, Charger fans were so done with Drew Brees by the time he had the 1 year, that last year in San Diego. They drafted Phillip Rivers before Drew Brees got hurt because of how poor Drew Brees was playing in San Diego when he first started. And then he gets hurt and made it easier for him. And then they let him go to New Orleans. It's no guarantee. But in his second and third year, Drew Brees threw 16 picks and 15 picks. And people were like so done with Drew Brees. It's the Win Sox. Phillip Rivers did turn a lot of nobodies into somebodies. You just watch. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Marcus and Menifee on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Marcus?
Hey, guys. Afternoon.
What's going on?
I'm with you, Braden. I'm with you. I'm an optimistic person as well. You called it first show once you started your gig. You said we just need to get into the playoffs, and we did that. Mission accomplished. And I want to go back to what you were talking about, or what Ben had mentioned on the roundtable about our childhood, or not childhood, going back to the past and stuff like that. When I was in grade school, when we had to go to the library, I wouldn't be doing reading assignments or anything. We had these old computers, and Oregon Trail was on it. And I'd lose that wheel, lose my animals, and I died dysentery.
Oregon Trail, always a great time. Marcus, appreciate the phone call. I talked about the there's a question I want to ask everybody about this thing. It's I gatekeep fandom all the time. I don't care. I don't like bandwagoners, Frank. I don't like people that don't really watch, that just jump for a team because they're good and then have to like talk smack about how great their team is.
Yeah.
That is a windsock. That is like the worst kind of sports fan. And it's easy to be that sports fan. I give justification for certain things. Here's how I evaluate sports fandom. You root for the teams of the city you're born in, where you're from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, schools you attended, or your close family attended. I think that's fair. Or if your parents rooted for a team and you grew up rooting for said team because of your parents, I think that is justified.
Yeah, fair.
That's it. I'm a little bit more strict than everybody else. That to me is your fandom. The whole I'll give Chris Ello credit. He grew up in LA, didn't really like any LA teams. Guy liked the animal. He liked the porpoise, a dolphin, and so he rooted for the Dolphins. All right, he stuck with them the whole time. I can't be mad at that.
No,
I can't be mad at that. That's fine. That's fair. That's fair. But I got something. There's a couple other things to it being a fan that I got to ask the question of. And I think it's gonna, it's interesting. I think it might sway you a different way. Again, I'm very aggressive on the gatekeeping. I'm fair, but I'm very aggressive on the gatekeeping of fandom. No jumping back and forth on certain teams. Okay, there's just no jumping back and forth. Just when it's a benefit for you. And then if you're going to do that, just understand. Like, here's my deal with the Cowboys, right? I don't really care if they win. I don't really care if they lose. I'm a pseudo fan. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to talk crap about how great the Cowboys are to some NFL fan that actually watches the NFL and is like a diehard fan. I don't care. I don't need to be. I was a Chargers fan. They left. I'm out. Okay? You don't represent me anymore. There's no reason to root for the Lightning Bolt. I have no connection to the logo. I have a connection to the thing that says San Diego in front of it. And then my love for the other teams are just kind of like, it's just not the same. But there is a question I have to ask about fandom. Now, I want Frank's opinion. I want everybody else's opinion on. I've argued with my friends about this before. I'll ask that question when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Baseball coverage on 97 through the Fans, presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. We're in hour 2 of the show, hour 3 of our usual time slot. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Because of that, I'm usually behind on reads and other things. I forget about certain. I just feel like I feel like it's hour 2. The last hour, the 11 o'clock hour, was sponsored by Las Vegas Convention and Visitors. Take a break from the mundane and escape to something a little more fabulous with the first ever fabulous 5-day sale from September 22nd to September 26th. Find deals at all your favorite Vegas hotels. Plan your fabulous escape and learn more at visitlasvegas.com. All right, we're caught up now, Frank. All right, question for you. We will be at Baja Rick's tomorrow. Excited for it. Juan better be there. Rod better be there. Prolific better be there. I've seen Maria at a live remote. Maybe Maria will come down. All of you guys in the chat would love to see you guys down at Baja Rick's. I think David Vu on there. I think his profile picture is a Baylor logo. I don't necessarily know if he's invited. Just kidding. He can come down too. If Jocelyn wears Arizona State stuff, though, I might be upset. Jocelyn obviously is an Arizona State alum. There will be no Arizona State loving for the next 48 hours. Or Sam Levitt loving. Are we gonna have Sam on tomorrow just to like complete the bit?
We could.
I think we need to put Sam on tomorrow to complete the bit.
I'll message him.
If he could come down there, great. If not, we can have him on the phone. But like, I feel like Sam has to be on the show tomorrow to complete the bit of the whole Sam Levitt day. Padres, Diamondbacks. He's got to do the pre and post. He's got to be the signal caller. Hopefully, he's distracted. Throws a couple of picks. Throw it to the team in the white and purple, please. Thank you. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. All right. Oh, wow. Rod says get the Baja Glizzy at Baja Rick's. Juan, if you wear an SMU shirt, I'm just going to say you'll never see the skillet again, buddy. Don't get me into S-talking with TCU football, which gets me to my fandom gatekeeping here. Okay. We went over the rules of what I think is justified. And people get so upset about this. Hey, man, you could do what you want to do. I'm not saying you can't do it. Just know, if you don't fit these 3 criteria, I'm calling you a bandwagoner. That's what I'm calling you. City you're from should be your number 1 teams.
Yes,
okay,
of course.
I think that's rule number 1. Number 2, any school that you attended, your parents or your siblings went to, is fair game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 100%. And number 3, any team or college that your parents grew up watching or are fans of, and so therefore you have now inherited said fandom as being dressed as a little one into the gear. Like, you got born into it. Okay? Also justified. Now, here's another caveat rule 4. If you happen to like a sport that you don't have any affiliation with any team in said sport, I feel like it's fair to pick whoever you want.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like, for me, I got into hockey, needed a team, picked the closest team, the Anaheim Ducks. It's not like we had a team. Goals end up being a part of the Ducks organization now. It works out. But like European soccer, obviously we don't have a team. The United States don't have any teams in the Champions League. By all means, pick whoever you want. I don't really care. I don't know how it works with NFL teams for people in cities that don't have NFL teams. I would imagine rooting for the closest one's probably the best. But I was a Charger fan growing up because they were here. They left. I'm out. Now, you know what? Now I don't root for NFL teams. I pseudo like the Cowboys, but again, I understand. I am a bandwagoner Cowboys fan. But I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to talk trash about the Cowboys to other fan bases. I'm not going to do that. Those are my rules. Now, here's the other thing. So, the teams that I like, everything San Diego. If San Diego had an NFL team back, I'd root for that team. If it's the Chargers, fine. If it's somebody else, okay. Don't really care. San Diego's my number 1. Went to TCU, obviously, bang. San Diego State, my dad went there. It's in my town. I think anybody that was born in San Diego can root for San Diego State. Now, here's the other thing too. Here's here's a caveat to that, Frank, on my rules of gatekeeping fandom. If you grew up a fan,
it's gonna be a novel of
these are the rules. Are you tracking right now? Here are all the rules. If you're not following the rules, these are the commandments given on fandom. Here's another one. This happened a lot at TCU, okay? I noticed this, and this happens at a lot of schools. I don't get this. If you grew up a fan of a school, okay? Let's say you grew up, like, I'm going to use this example. Let's say you grew up in the state of Texas. In the state of Texas, everybody grows up either an A&M fan or a Texas Longhorns fan. That's kind of how it works. It's split down the middle until you go to college, and then it's whatever college you are. But if you are a Texas fan growing up, and then you attend Baylor or TCU and Texas Tech, and you root for Texas over the school you go to, that is incredibly awful. That is a foul. That is a foul. Do not, if whatever school you attend, that is your school. That's what you're affiliated with. You don't root for the team you grew up watching over the school you attended. My brother said the same thing at Tennessee. He said there were some kids from Georgia, didn't get into Georgia or didn't attend Georgia, went to Tennessee. Georgia came into town. They didn't root for Tennessee anymore. They're rooting for Georgia. That's crazy.
Brother, you need to slow down.
That's crazy. I was using an example. Are you writing these down? Good. No flipping and flopping. I think after a certain amount of time, you would have to be able to, when you establish your official fandom, as long as you don't flip. But just don't get upset when I call you a bandwagoner. Like if you grew up a San Diego, like let's imagine you grew up in Fresno State fans, like the only thing, and then you go to San Diego State. Are you going to root for Fresno State against the school you go to? That's a foul. That's terrible. You can't do that. It's your affiliation now. So again, a lot of people in our chat, they're following the rules of their fandom. So for me, TCU, brother went to Tennessee, High Point, go Panthers. I'll rep High Point. I think you could root for your spouse's team too. I think that plays in. I'm not at that level yet, so I couldn't tell you, but it'd be kind of hard to root against your spouse's team. Now, if your spouse's college plays your college, you better not be rooting for your spouse's college. You can on the outside if you don't want to sleep on the couch or whatever. You better be like die hard. You just got to stick to your guns, for sure. So, Dad went to State, Mom went to Arizona. I went to Arizona for a small time. Those are the teams I root for. Anaheim Ducks on it. Okay, I'm not really there with the football with the NFL just because we don't have a team anymore. But those are the rules. Are you still writing these down?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any of those rules? Do you break any of those rules?
No, I do not.
What's the Hofstra love?
For me, I've wanted to go there. Never got the chance to. But when my grandfather was coaching high school football, the first Long Island championship game, we got suite tickets for the game, and the game was being played at Hofstra. So
all right, but you didn't go to school, so that would have been your school anyway.
Yeah, that would have been.
Well, that's fair enough. The Penn State one I might not play for you. What's the Penn State connection?
That one's just closest
College.
competent university. Syracuse is kind of irrelevant. College football in New York, in the Northeast, really is irrelevant.
So you're kind of like the guy in the town that doesn't have an NFL team.
Yeah. As far as college football.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. 100%. That's fair. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know what you think.
Okay.
I think I'm in the minority in this. I really do. Can you, as a fan of certain teams, brag about what your team did before you were born?
It depends.
I say no.
I say no. If
you're getting into an argument with another fan and they pull up things that happened before they were born, sure. Like if you want to go tit for tat right there, like okay. But to me, anything before you were born doesn't count. You can't. You didn't even. To be honest, if you really want to think about it, it could be all a lie. We could all be lying to you. You don't know. You weren't alive.
It depends.
Be made up.
I think if you are a lifelong fan of the team, like for me, do I pull out the 86 or 69 Mets in an argument just to prove a point? No, I don't. But if someone else brings it up, then yeah, I'll say, listen,
like I said,
2 championships, bud.
If it was back and forth, like if you got to deal with the Yankees fan talking about 27 rings or whatever it is.
Well, no,
sure.
you can't bring up any of that stuff because they don't. It's 2 versus 27. You look like an idiot. But 2, they're just completely useless and lost anyway. So it doesn't matter what you say. It's like talking to a wall. If you're a fan of the team, like if you're Cubs fan established 2016, then no, you're an idiot. Stop talking about what you're talking about, please.
Are you gonna set like I was saying? So like anything that happened before you were born, like the Cowboy people that were at age 30 have never seen the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. They can't be bragging about the Cowboys Super Bowls in the 90s. You're not going to be able to read that.
No, absolutely not.
It's not going to focus.
Well, it's
you're going to make people sick.
To anyone who can.
Can you read the
so what I had was I'm doing this solely for the bit. I actually don't care about any of these rules. Go Panthers. I heard that bit. I also heard no NFL teams. I heard that bit too.
I don't have an NFL team currently.
Yeah.
Kind of the Cowboys. But again, I admit that that's kind of a bandwagon thing, and it's because my team left. So, but you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to buy the division championship shirt. First of all, they will never win one, so it doesn't really matter. And I will not win a Super Bowl shirt. And guess what? If the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be talking smack to anybody. Maybe Crumb, just because he brings it upon himself with the Eagles stuff. But aside from that, that's basically it.
Any Philadelphia fan brings it upon themselves.
I agree. But again, if it happened before you were born, it doesn't count. Me bragging about 1930-something TCU football championships is eyewash. Eyewash. Now, here's the deal. So this is what spurred it. One of my friends is on home field looking at Washington State hats for some reason, not the Washington State alum. And he tells our Penn State friend, Mike, he grew up in Penn. His dad was a Penn State fan. He grew up a Penn State fan.
Fair.
It's justified.
Yeah, that's fair.
I justify it. Now, if you start bragging about it more than the colleges you attended, buddy, we might have a little bit of a problem, Mr. UC Irvine in Western Kentucky. But you know what? I digress. He doesn't have a Power 5 team. That is the team he grew up watching. That's fine. Fine to me.
Mr. Red.
Mr. Big. For Big Red. Now.
Big the first name, or is it just Big Red? Is it Big
is Big
Red,
his first name? So if like he had a driver's license in Kentucky, does it say Big and then Red is his last name? I don't know. I'm not as familiar with Big Red like that. We're more of acquaintances than anything else. Okay, so he said it's Sushi Sam. He's the one that did it.
He's outing himself in the YouTube chat, which is why Braden.
He did. He outed himself in the YouTube chat. So anyway, so he said there's a Penn State national championship hat. And then Penn State fan says, Braden would say it doesn't count. So why would I get that? Saying it derogatory like it's wrong. It wouldn't count. That was 1985. You were born in 1995. It was 10 years before you were born. It doesn't count. He goes on to say, then you can't count the 2010 Rose Bowl. That's different. That happened during my lifetime. I'm not saying it happened during my lifetime. You could talk about it. If it doesn't happen during your lifetime, you can't brag about it. I'm sorry. You can't. Those are the rules.
Had you committed to TCU at that point?
No, it's 2010.
Bro.
I was rooting for them over Wisconsin, though, because it was a Mountain West school. And at that point, San Diego State was the team I was rooting for. But it is my university.
You could have said yes, that you had already committed there to keep the joke going. But
no,
okay,
I'm not.
That's okay.
I didn't get my scholarship offer until 2011.
Gotcha.
For video.
Gotcha.
TCU video. Hey, man, you really film a great all-22. So if I didn't do that in college, or in high school, I played in college. I played in high school and filmed in college. But yes, that is what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's fair.
I think it's fair.
I would expand your second rule, which is the family rule. I would expand that to extended family because I'll root for Seton Hall basketball. My uncle went to Seton Hall.
That's fair. None of my aunts and uncles went to college.
Yeah,
my parents are the only ones that did. So those are the ones that I root for.
Yeah, my uncle went to Seton Hall. Other family, like one of my cousins went to Maine. Another one went to Boston U. I'm not emotionally invested in those, but I like seeing them do well. One of my cousins is going to Siena right now. So yeah, you root for the family schools. Yes.
Neil says, what if a grandparent played for a team? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go for it.
He played, one of your flesh and blood played there.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
That, and also I'll say, like, I'll call it the Elo rule.
The Elo rule with the porpoise.
Yeah, if you live somewhere where you don't like the team, like my uncle's not a fan of hates the Yankees with a burning passion. You think I hate the Yankees?
Yeah, you hate watch them all the time.
I'm nowhere remotely near how much he hates the Yankees. And he can't stand the Mets. So he roots for the Cubs. He also doesn't like the Jets or Giants, so he roots for the Bears. He's stuck with them since childhood. Biggest Cub and Bear fan I know.
20 years. I think you have to have at least 20 years to
if you
can work your way out of the bandwagon by sticking with that team for 20 years.
Yes. And it also depends on when you become a fan of that team. Like if you are, just to pick it, if you're a Padre fan established 2011, okay, you're a genuine Padre fan. If you're a Padre fan established 2022, okay, maybe we got to have a conversation now. But I would say that would be the yellow rule.
Clay brings up another good point. Military affiliation.
Military,
okay,
yes,
you can
100%.
root for Navy, Army, Air Force if you're in those. I see a lot of bets like that. You don't have to go to the academies to root for the academies if you're part of the deal.
Saw the Coast Guard had a win the other day in something.
So again, if it happened before your lifetime, you can't be bragging about it, in my opinion. I can't be bragging about the Chargers AFL championship, which nobody wanted to brag about anyway. 1963 AFL championship. No, falls on deaf ears. I don't want to hear from a Cowboys fan that's 30 years or younger about how great the Cowboys used to be when they never even saw it happen. They don't even know.
Yeah, like Mike and SD, been a Padre fan since 2007, sorry. When I moved down here, I think we all know how the first 13 years of that fandom went. You're a Padre fan. You are a Padre fan.
He stuck through it.
Exactly.
He stuck through it. These are our rules. Abide by them. I think you have to have established years to be non-band. I think those first 10 years probably still bandwagon, even though they weren't doing well. But then he graduated. He graduated the bandwagon.
You can't if you start rooting for a random team, especially in a down year, and stick with them. I'm sorry, you're a fan.
You're
of
a
that
bandwagoner
team. You
fan,
like that fan
until you make it through 10 years.
Who's jumping on the bandwagon of an 0-16 team?
That's you know what that is? That's buying low stock. That's what that is. It's buying stock low and then selling high. You got to stick with it for 10 years. You know what? People love to be miserable too, Frank. People love to be miserable too. So
no kidding.
Anyway, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We got another guy asking about the height. This guy is obsessed with me voting in the San Diego Union-Tribune voters poll for high school football. We'll talk about that when we come back. We'll get to Kevin, Steven, Kathleen. Stay with us. We'll get your phone calls as we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got a lot of people like we got a lot of people putting in their own rules here to our fandom rules. I told you, I'm not afraid to gatekeep fandom. I will call you out for being a bandwagoner.
I'm not writing those rules down.
Go Aztecs. Another fandom rule. Don't claim as a fan of a team that you were physically present at a big win when you were sitting at home on your couch. People do that. That's crazy. I still think the one where it's like rooting for your childhood team over the school you pay money to attend is beyond crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy. Spend all this money to go to that. Why would you? I knew kids that were like Texas Longhorn fans growing up, and then they went to school at TCU and they're rooting for Texas in the game. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand. I don't get it. Look, if you want to, now, we didn't dive into the weeds of getting your master's somewhere or doctorate or something. I mean, I feel like you can root for those teams, but to me, I feel like you should probably value your undergrad more. The place that you spent the most amount of time, right, Frank? Like, I actually asked my buddy this because he played his grad year at West Kentucky, played his 4 years at Irvine. If Irvine plays West Kentucky, who is he rooting for? He said Irvine. I'm like, good, smart man. If Irvine plays Penn State, he's still rooting for Irvine. I think that's fair. Now, here's the good thing. He doesn't have to worry about it in football.
Yeah.
Irvine's been undefeated since 1960, whatever they started. They've never lost.
Yeah, that's to say
they've never lost.
They not have a team.
I tell you what, the Big West would be a fun football conference. UCSD, Irvine, Fullerton. Fullerton used to have a football team. UC Santa Barbara. Imagine the college football stadiums on these places. How about spending a 2:30 kick an afternoon in Fullerton watching the Titans take on the Anteaters?
Let's go.
Think about that. Think about the helmet concepts you could come up with an Anteater. Oh, that'd be legit. Somebody was like, what did he say? What did he say? Braden, did you go to Cathedral or only coach there? Assuming you did not go to Cathedral, do you vote for the high school you attended or the high school you coach at? I don't even know what that means.
I think he's asking if you had. Oh, let me see it again here because I know exactly what comment you're
Votes
talking
or
about.
root for? I'm rooting for the. Like if I was coaching at a different high school than my alma mater, which is Cathedral, I'd be obviously rooting for the school I coach at. Because I did get asked this, Frank. So I, do games for USD. Yep. USD has played TCU in baseball twice. I'm getting paid by USD. I was not rooting for TCU to beat USD.
You can.
I know. I think the place that you work or attend.
The trick is you just can't show it on air during a live call.
But here's the other thing too.
Show it. I
have more of a relationship with the players and the coaching staff at the place that I'm working at than the random people that happen to be wearing the uniforms of the school I went to.
See, that's also where
my take on that.
That's also where you got to hope they don't have a camera showing in the booth. Player A at TCU. It's a high fly ball, deep left field. It is gone. A home run. UC San Diego down. USD down 1-0 here in the first inning to TCU. You can do the fist pump as long as no one's there to see it.
That's the best part about doing it for ESPN Plus. Got to be a neutral broadcaster. There's no one more neutral than person's got affiliation with both sides.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. You got to play. You got to sound right, but there's nothing saying that you can't give a little fist pump while fist pump is the guy's rounding the bases. You just can't hear it in your voice.
Yes. I had to do that twice. The hardest one was at TCU because it was going back to school and I'm wearing USD stuff and I'm like getting like looks on the concourse and I'm like, bitch, I actually went to this school. I don't know, like I'm an alumni. I have a diploma here. You just live here. Stop it. I'm one of you. Look at my lanyard sticking out of my pocket right here. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kevin in Oceanside. You're the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Frank. I've been a Padre fan since 1972. I'm going to be 63 in December. So my family is from St. Louis. So when the Padres are not, I'm a Cardinal fan. Does that make me a bandwagger as well?
No, I think you're justified there, Kevin. Family's from St. Louis, grew up a St. Louis fan. You've been a fan since, what did you say, 70-something? Yeah, that's a foul on him for saying Brandon, though. But I appreciate it, Kevin.
He draws the foul.
I think that's justified. Hey, by the way, Go Aztecs asked about our guy Nicky P that we stood at attention for. R.I.P. the fallen soldier. He's got to go to a wedding this weekend for a big college football slate. He likes SC and Oregon. I was like, he's going on 20 years now being an Oregon fan. He was an Oregon fan since 06. He went to SC. Now, he better root for SC over Oregon if that's where he went to school. That's neither here nor there. Next year, I think he officially graduates to be an Oregon Ducks fan. What do you think? I think 20 years, 10 to 20 years, I think it's fine.
I think 10 years is
10
fine.
years if the team sucks, 20 years if the team's good. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them.
15.
10
and 15.
Yeah, but we can make a big deal out of Nicky P getting 20 years next year.
Sure.
You know what?
That's fine.
We can have a little celebration.
Congratulations for being a fan for 5 years.
Here's your reward. You don't get to watch him play Penn State. You're right. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Steven in Spring Valley on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Steven?
Hey, Braden. Hey, Frank. You guys have opened a can of worms and put me in a fandom conundrum.
Uh-oh. I hope you follow the rules.
Well, I'm trying. I was reared in Fresno, so when I was 13, went to a Giants game, saw Willie Mays hit a home run, and I've been a Giants fan ever since.
All right.
6 years ago, I moved down to San Diego, and while the Padres are the only game in town, although when the Giants came, I rooted for the Giants, or whenever they play the Padres. But damned if I don't want to root for the Padres this year. And, well, since 2020.
Hey, well, you know what? It makes a lot of sense, Steven, but
it's my situation.
Yeah, it is kind of Frank's situation.
It is my situation.
The difference is you work for the flagship station.
Well, no,
Steven does not.
Well, no, but
it's a work
here's
thing.
The thing.
It's a work thing.
I understand.
Okay.
Of course, root for your team. I root for the Mets. I like to see the Padres succeed. If the Padres succeed at the expense of my team, we're going to have a little bit of a problem. But it is my situation. You are perfectly valid to root for the San Francisco Giants. There's nothing wrong with that. You're following the rules.
He's a Giants fan.
You're following the rules.
If he roots for the Padres over the Giants, he'd be breaking the rules.
Yes.
Even though it would benefit a lot of us Padre fans. Because here's the other thing. People will always justify bandwagoner fans if it is a fan of their new team, of their team. He's
okay.
pushing it. He's pushing it.
It's okay. It is 100% okay to see the team in the city you live in. It's okay to root for them.
It's
but
okay
not at
to
the expense,
hope they do. How is it?
Not
it's
at the expense of your team.
It's okay to hope they play well.
Yeah.
But if the Padres played the Giants, division rival, he should be rooting for the Giants.
Yeah.
Or
not at the
he
expense
makes
of
the
your
switch,
team.
or he makes the switch, and now he's got to wait 10 years.
There you go. Starts the 10-year clock.
That's where it starts the 10-year clock. So he has a decision to make. Which path he wants to take. Kathleen in Chula Vista on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kathleen?
Oh, my name's Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, what's your name? What's going on?
Oh, I'm doing good. I listen to your show every day.
Appreciate it.
That Tony wins. Well, I've been a Steeler fan since I was 7 years old, and my brother taught me, when he was 13, he taught me everything about sports. And I liked the Cincinnati Reds growing up, and I liked Padres too. He says, oh, you switch your fandom? I grew up watching Terry Bradshaw and Pete Rose. Like your Frank, I can relate to him because my manager I worked with, he liked the Mets, the Knicks, and all the Giants in New York. I could always talk sports. He always says, what happened to your Padres? But my mom was born in Pennsylvania. That's why I like the Steelers a lot. I'm a diehard Steeler fan and stuff.
That's perfect. Appreciate it, Jackie.
Following the rules perfectly.
Following the rules. Following the rules. That was an awesome call. I got Brandon again. She doesn't get the pass though. That's a foul.
He draws the foul.
Lady, this is a Padre station. There's a Wendy's. This is the Padres. Oh, it's the Steelers? Where's Magic? Magic's the Steelers. Magic's our local Steelers fan.
We could have more than one local Steelers fan. Come on.
Apparently, have multiple now. Local Steelers fan. I'm just saying. The multiple teams of the same sports, like, I think you have to put a hierarchy together.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, like, I don't have multiple. I kind of like the Angels, but not really.
Yeah,
I mean, I hope they do well. They're the American League team in Southern California. But I definitely have a hierarchy when it comes to the college teams.
I root for the Angels as well. If it comes to Angels Padres,
Angels Mets. No.
I'm taking Padres.
Yeah, exactly. I have my hierarchy for college sports. Maybe I'll tell you that. Skyler's coming in next. Rod's going to get excited. Alabama football. Alabama, Georgia this weekend. We'll talk about the games, make our picks. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. All right. We did not get to the midday sports standoff. If you could take me down to sports trivia on that, maybe we get somebody to play live on tomorrow at Baja Rick's, Frank. I think it's a good idea. If you take me down to sports trivia, you'd qualify for a chance to win a grand prize. A trip to see the Eagles at Sphere Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to the show on January 30th, a 2-night stay at the Venetian Resort Las Vegas, a Vibe VIP package, and a $100 gas card. Eagles have added 2026 shows to the band's residency at Sphere in Las Vegas on Friday, January 23rd, Saturday, January 24th, Friday, January 30th, and Saturday, January 31st. The residency now features a total of 48 shows from Friday, September 20th through Saturday, January 31st, 2026. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. It is time to get to some college football picks. Now, Skylar might have broke some of the rules, Frank. The fandom rules.
I was going to say which rules.
The fandom rules.
We got a couple.
We were trying to explain it to Skylar when she came in, and she said, well, what about rooting for NFL teams that have a bunch of Alabama players? Like, I like the Eagles and I like the Dolphins. Bandwagoner.
I feel like that's like showing how much I loyally follow my college team.
I bet you Alabama's got players on every team in the NFL. They probably have almost every team represented in the NFL.
That would be something to look into.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Then that would make my Sundays really challenging because
you can't watch them all.
And who do you pick?
That's right.
If there's 6 players on one team and 6 players on the other, that's a tough one.
You're getting booed in the chat. Boo this woman.
I'm sorry.
Windsock.
I'm
boo.
sorry. But I'm born and raised San Diegan, so I can't cheer for the Chargers. They abandoned us. So
Good.
I got to cheer for someone on Sundays.
You know
Otherwise, I'm bored.
Yeah, you probably won the chat over a little bit more out there.
Okay.
Let's get to our college picks for the week.
Let us do that, as a matter of fact.
Root for the player, not the team,
That's
Skylar.
fair.
Root for the player, not the team.
I can do that.
We have a fun weekend of college football. Do you have any weddings to go to this weekend?
Me?
Yeah, because one of our fallen soldiers has a wedding on Saturday.
Oh,
this has to be the
that's
worst
rough.
weekend to have a fall wedding
Yeah, I don't know about
on
that.
the season.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Nikki P's the best man, so he can't get out of it.
I guess you just have to like do the secret phone like in the arm thing and just like glance down and try to make it not too obvious that you're mostly invested in football and not the wedding.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And he's a Oregon Ducks fan, so he'll be missing the Oregon Penn State game that we're going to pick later on.
That's
but we
a
have
bummer.
a lot of great games coming up on Saturday. We got a lot of great sports going on this weekend. Ryder Cups this weekend. We got NFL on Sunday. A lot of great games. We got some good games tomorrow in college football. Baseball is bonkers this weekend too in the final series of the season. And we have this college football slate that we're going to get to. Last week, not a great week for me, but you know what? TCU won the skillet. I don't really care. And San Diego State beat up on Cal. That was great. Skyler went 5-5. Frank went 5-5. I still have a game lead despite how bad it was. And we're going to bounce back this week. So let's get to the 10 picks starting. Poor Lincoln Riley. Poor little Lincoln Riley.
We're gonna play that.
He's got to play. He's got to play early in the morning after having to play the last game last Saturday. Poor USC. They got Illinois on Big Noon kickoff tomorrow.
You gonna do this,
Saturday.
or am I?
No, go ahead.
Okay, good. So it'll be USC, 4-0 USC taking on number 23, 3-1 Illinois. 6.5 point favorite, 9 a.m. on Fox. The 6.5 point favorite, USC. Skylar, your pick.
I guess this would be a bad time to talk about the fact that I like Lincoln Riley because I might get more boos from you guys. I'm not sure. But, I mean, Illinois, they just struggled so bad last week. I feel so terrible for them. I think they're beat up. They're defeated. And I've got to take USC on this one.
Braden?
I will take crybaby Lincoln Riley this week. It's almost like a built-in excuse that they have to play at 9 a.m. Pacific time, even though they're playing in Urbana-Champaign. So we'll see. I'm going to take SC. They're better than Illinois. I thought Illinois was fake good going into last weekend. Indiana curb stomped them. SC's better than Illinois.
You guys jumping off the Illinois bandwagon.
I was never on it.
Instantly after just a tiny little defeat It was a small defeat.
Small.
Everyone gets beaten by 53 points every now and again.
As Indiana coach would say, look me up, I win. He's backing it up. He won big.
USC.
SC, fight on.
Game number 2, Braden, it'll be 22 ranked Notre Dame at 1-2, taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. They are 2-2 at Arkansas. 4.5 point favorite are the Irish. This will be at 9 a.m. on ABC. Who do you got?
We're going to justify Notre Dame being picked 10th in a couple of AP polls.
Yes.
By beating up on Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas looked bad last week against Memphis. They had the game, fumbled it away, lost to Memphis on the road. They do get to play this game in Fayetteville, so I like Arkansas, but I think Notre Dame has played a tough. I think Notre Dame is better than Arkansas. If Notre Dame wins that game, they're in some serious trouble. I'll take Notre Dame, and I think they cover the 4.5.
Skylar?
Yeah, I mean, like Notre Dame has struggled so bad this season, but I would say Arkansas is still probably a lesser opponent. I think Notre Dame has really struggled to put up points, but they're kind of in a situation where if they don't show everybody what they can do, then I think they're going to start seeing the pain of that. So I think I'm going to take Notre Dame.
Oh, we're 2 for 2 today. That's not a good start. Number 4, LSU taking on number 13, Ole Miss. Both teams are 4-4. Ole Miss, a 1.5 point favorite at home. Skylar, who do you got?
So I think this is going to be a really crazy game. I think it's going to be a really good game. LSU has set themselves up to have a phenomenal season with Nussmeier. So normally I would kind of lean towards them, but I think going into playing against Ole Miss at home, I think Lane Kiffin is going to do some crazy stuff. I feel like we're going to see a lot of crazy play calling here. He's going to try to go for some big plays. So I think I'm going to take Ole Miss at home.
I think LSU is better than Ole Miss, but it's the game's in and Oxford. I'll take Ole Miss.
Who'd you pick, Skylar?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to take LSU. I think LSU on the road. I think they're still a better team than Ole Miss. I'm going to go with LSU here. Game number 4 in this deal. Braden, Auburn at 3-1 at number 9, Texas A&M Aggies. Aggies favored by 3.5. 12:30 kick on ESPN.
Kind of fell apart late last week for Auburn against Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's better than Texas A&M. It's not November yet, so it's not a gimme that A&M's just going to fall apart. But I like Auburn in this game on the road. I think Auburn's pretty good. I think things went a little rough for them against Oklahoma, but I think Oklahoma's way better than Texas A&M. I will take Auburn plus 6.5.
Skylar?
I was so disappointed in Auburn last week. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I thought they really had a chance, and then they just fell apart. But I think Texas A&M, they're just a more explosive team, and everybody knows how hard it is to go and play on the road at that stadium. So I'm going to take Texas A&M.
Unless you're App State, right?
I guess. Luck.
App State went in there and beat their ass. I'm so anti-Aggie all the time.
No, I understand. On the one hand, it's Texas A&M is a good school. On the other hand, Auburn, it's 6.5 points. Auburn's played well this year.
Skylar learned her lesson of picking her rival. Burned her last week.
I thought you picked A&M, right?
She did this week. Last week she picked
last
Auburn.
Week I picked
so
Auburn.
What are you, so Braden, what are you typing on the sheet here?
Oh, yeah, she picked.
Thank you very much.
Is Braden sabotaging me?
It looks
Frank's
like it.
down.
That's why I'm writing it. You know what? I'm gonna go with Texas A&M. I'll go with A&M as well at home.
You guys disgust me.
No, I think it's gonna be a close game. I don't think A&M is gonna let them get within 7. Halfway through here, number 11 Indiana 4-0 at Iowa, taking on the 3-1 Hawkeyes. Indiana favored by 7.5. Skylar.
Yeah, well, Indiana had a crazy week last week, and I always struggle with Iowa. I find their offense to be really, really slow most of the time. So
it's putrid to watch.
Yeah, so I can't pick them to keep it close when it's a 7-point spread. So I'm not take Indiana.
I'll also take Indiana. there's like in the back of my mind, I feel like Iowa's going to keep this thing close because Iowa usually has good defense, good special teams. They just can't score the ball. They just can't score. But Indiana looked pretty good last week. I know it's in Iowa City. One of our coaches will be at the game on Saturday. Quinn Early, Iowa alum. We'll see. They're honoring whatever team Quinn was on. I forget what team that was back in the 80s. So I don't know if that's going to be a factor. I'm going to take the Hoosiers, though.
I'm going to go with Indiana as well. Number 15, Tennessee Volunteers, 7.5-point favorites at Mississippi State. Vols coming off of a big loss against Georgia. Mississippi State 4-0. This is a 1:15 kick on the SEC network. Braden.
Volunteers beat up on UAB last week at home. Had some stats. Mississippi State's feeling good about themselves right now at 4-0. I don't know. The spread seems kind of high for a road team for Tennessee. But I think they're better than Mississippi State. I'll take the Volunteers. I think they cover.
Skylar?
Yeah, I mean, even though Mississippi State's 4-0, I would still say they're arguably one of the weakest teams in the SEC. And that on the flip side, Tennessee kept it so close with Georgia. They almost had it there. I think they might be like a little banged up. They might still be recovering from that loss a little bit, but I think that they are just far beyond talent-wise for Mississippi State, so I think they'll go in and cover.
Also, guess who's back? Jackson Moy, Cathedral Catholic Don, back in the D-line for Tennessee.
We are
leader of the D-line.
4 for 6 here today, folks.
You taking the Vols?
Yes.
You guys are both taking the Vols?
Number 7. Game number 7. The Arizona Wildcats at 3-0 taking on Iowa State at Iowa State. Number 14. Someone's getting their first loss this week. Iowa State 6.5-point favorites. Skylar.
Yeah, well, Iowa State, they are undefeated, but I think their last 2 matchups, they've barely escaped with a win. So I like Arizona on the road here, actually.
I've watched Arizona football too long. This is I don't know if they're good yet. I know they beat Hawaii, Crate, like Kansas State in Tucson. Kansas State's reeling. I like Arizona. This would be the one that's determined whether or not Arizona's for real or not. I think Iowa State wins the game, but you know what? Maybe it's a field goal. I'm going to take Arizona plus 6.5. I don't think they win, though.
We are 5 for 7.
Bear down. Bear down, Brenton. Bear down.
Number 8, the number 6 Oregon. Oh, God. The number 6 Oregon Ducks in Happy Valley, whiteout game against Penn State. 3.5-point favorites are the Nittany Lions. Braden, go for it.
All right. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Because if I pick Oregon, I'm going to get yelled at for picking Oregon. If I pick Penn State and they lose, it's going to be my fault. I think Penn State wins this game, though. I think they beat Oregon. I think it's in Happy Valley. It's the whiteout game, 4:30 on NBC. We'll see what Oregon's got. But when, Oregon playing on the road, this is one of the most hostile environments Oregon will deal with. You ain't seeing this in the Pac-12, let me tell you that. I got Penn State minus 3.5. I think they win by 7.
Skylar?
I was actually kind of surprised that Penn State was a favorite here. I like Dan Lanning. I think they have the edge offensively, especially in the quarterback situation. I think they're a great team on the road, so I think they should have no problem, even though it is a hostile environment. So I'm going to take the Ducks.
Yo, Aztecs is quack, quack, Frank.
Here's the thing.
You can emotional hedge bet this.
Penn State.
You can emotional hedge bet this.
I'm sure I could.
You took Oregon?
Yeah, I'm taking Oregon in this game.
Frank's taking Oregon, too.
The reason I have seen Penn State too often, too recently, lose too many big games. This is a properly big game for Penn State. This is a playoff game in September. I have to go with Oregon. Until Penn State can prove otherwise, I have to take Oregon.
Is the Fiesta Bowl not a big game? They won that last year.
No, I understand that, but that's not
Ohio State over there. It's Oregon.
I'm taking Oregon.
Good news for Penn State. Frank's picks aren't good, apparently, according to Go Aztecs. Or what if Oregon wears yellow pants?
I am two games out of first place here,
What
you
if
jerk.
Oregon wears yellow pants on Saturday?
Didn't work for Cal.
Didn't work for Cal.
I'll say that.
Cal got their ass kicked.
It did not work for Cal.
All right.
Next
Notice
up,
we're not picking my school this week.
I was going to say, we got next one is going to be number 17, Alabama versus number 5, Georgia. What kind of goober put this schedule together? 3.5 point favorite, Skylar. I'll write down Alabama right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm mentally prepared for this game. I'm blocking out week 1. Okay, when I'm making this analysis, week 1 is just like it didn't exist.
Florida
okay?
State didn't happen.
Florida State
Florida State?
didn't
Who's
happen.
Florida State?
Exactly. So I think my team stands a chance. I'm shocked that Georgia is only a 3-point favorite. I thought it would be more. It's going to be a really tough game. This is going to be an away game for Alabama. Talk about a hostile environment. But I definitely think they have a chance. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm dreading and also excited for Saturday. But of course, I'm taking Alabama.
Well, you were right because it's not a 3-point spread. It's a 3.5 point spread.
3.5.
I'm taking Georgia. Georgia has only lost 4 games at home since Kirby Smart took over. It's a hard place to play. I've been there before. Between the hedges, it's not fun for a lot of teams in the SEC. Even if you do factor out the first week for Alabama, Georgia's a good football team. I got Georgia.
That game against Tennessee kind of sold me on Georgia to be so out of it on multiple occasions and still come back and win that game.
I mean, that's what happened last year with the Alabama. Alabama had like a 20-something point favorite on Georgia, and they were able to come back. So
yeah. So I'm taking
neutral site.
I'm taking Georgia as well. Final game, number 25, BYU at Colorado. Who are 2-2. BYU is a 6.5 point favorite over the Buffaloes. Braden, last pick is yours.
I got BYU. I love Ralphie the Buffalo, but BYU, they look way better. I mean, Colorado looked bad against Houston last week or 2 weeks ago. Might have been last week, 2 weeks ago. They're not the same Colorado team as they were when Shador was there and Travis Hunter and those guys. I'm taking BYU. BYU looks good too.
Skylar?
Yeah, BYU has just been overall very consistent this season, and it seems like Colorado is just struggling to even finish drives. So I definitely am going to take BYU.
I'm going to take BYU as well.
Wow.
A lot of the same.
We picked the same on how many of them?
I think half of them. I think.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All going according to plan, so you guys can't pass me.
6. We picked on 6.
Braden did it on purpose.
I did. No. We rearranged the order a little bit a couple of times. Clay's got his picks down. Good. Let's remember those. Is he our fan of the week? What did your mom do?
She actually did not pick last week.
God.
She said she got bored of kicking our ass.
That's fair.
Well, she deemed herself the winner already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's a look at our college football picks. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease, a postseason option. People laughed at us at the round table, saying he might be. We'll take a look about it. We'll take a look at it. See if Dylan Cease is a postseason option moving forward. Thanks again to Skylar for joining us. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Calling all Padre fans. You only have 3 more chances in 2025 to get out and support the Padres. If you can't get out to a game, be sure to tune in to 97 through the Fan, as well as all of our sister stations for full coverage of Padres baseball throughout the playoffs. All 5 of our sister stations. Well, I guess we're one of the 5. All 4 of our sister stations here at Odyssey. That would be KSON, country station. 1037 KSON. That would also be Kixie 96.5, Alt 94.9, and Sunny 98.1. All of them part of our Odyssey Palace here at the Odyssey Empire. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Baseball Talk on 97 through the Fan is presented by Paramount Plus. Sylvester Stallone is back in the original hit series Tulsa King this season. Dwight faces his most dangerous adversaries yet, forcing him to fight for everything he's built and to protect his empire. Stream the new season of Tulsa King on Sunday, September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus. All right. Let's talk about Dylan Cease for a second. The thing with Dylan Cease is, despite what everybody thinks about him, you're not going to just cut him tomorrow and then be like, go enjoy free agency. If you're going to win, you're going to need Dylan Cease. You're going to need Dylan Cease. And so the question becomes, is Dylan Cease a postseason option? I think there's multiple ways to look at it. I think if you think outside the box a little bit, it becomes unrealistic because I don't necessarily know the Padres would do this. But there's a couple of things here. I like Dylan Cease's experience over I like Randy Vasquez's experience. I think there's something to be said about pitching in the playoffs before. I know he did not do well in the playoffs last year for the Padres, but I really just look at that first start he had against the Dodgers because the second one is a wash because you had him go on 3 days rest, which is obviously something that he is incapable of doing. I don't know what it'd be like if he comes out of the bullpen, but I tell you what, Dylan Cease does still have good metrics. And the thing is you're going to have to use him. You are going to have to use Dylan Cease. This is the team that you have. So, how does this lay out exactly? Well, we already know in the wild card series, he's probably not going to pitch. Because we know Nick Pivetta is going game 1. Now, they didn't make a change for Friday, Saturday. Michael King will pitch Saturday. Yu Darvish is pitching tomorrow. Which means Yu Darvish is in line to pitch Wednesday, game 2. And it gives Michael King the opportunity to pitch game 3, if you need to get there. So Yu Darvish is either pitching with the season on the line or pitching to clinch. And Michael King is saved for a must-win game. Now, how that plays out is also good, too, for a couple of reasons. One, I like Nick Pivetta pitching game 1. I liked Michael King pitching game 1, but obviously with him pitching now on Saturday, that's not an option. So you have King, you save King for the winner-take-all game. You have Pivetta for game 1 to set the tone. He's been your best guy all year. He's been the most consistent guy all year. And then in game 2, again, I like Yu Darvish over Dylan Cease for sure because I like the experience factor and the thing Yu gets up for games. Now here's the other thing. You can get the bullpen ready to go quick on you in game 2. You better hope, Nick Pivetta's got to give you some innings. Nick Pivetta's got to give you some innings. And then after that, you go to game 2. You either are playing for your life, which means you got the bullpen ready to go, or you're playing to win that thing and move on to Milwaukee, and you're using your best asset, which is your bullpen. And then, again, Thursday is the Michael King day with the season on the line. If you make it to game 3, you can't use King for game 1 of the divisional series. But if you don't make it to day 3 of the wild card and you win it in 2, which is hard to do, then all of a sudden you got King ready to start game 1 of the divisional series. Now, how does this play in with Dylan Cease and with Randy Vasquez? Again, I'm not going to just completely execute Dylan Cease because he had a bad year and just throw him to the wolves. I wouldn't re-sign Dylan Cease, but again, he is going to have to pitch in the playoffs if you want to win. Randy Vasquez is going to have to pitch in the playoffs if you want to win. So there's two ways to view it. Do you pitch Dylan Cease or do you pitch Randy Vasquez? Randy Vasquez has looked really good against really bad teams. Now, he looked good in his last outing against Milwaukee. You start looking at some of his outings against playoff teams. If he would have been taken out later and they let him pitch, who knows how many runs he would have given up. It's his first year as an everyday, at first full year as a starter in Major League Baseball. I thought he did great the other day, but you are taking a huge roll of the dice, rolling out arguably a rookie in a postseason game. The postseason's a little bit different. You need a guy like a Dylan Cease that has experience. And again, he's got wipeout stuff. He's got the best strikeout per 9 in all of Major League Baseball. Better than Paul Skeens, better than Tarek Skubal, better than anybody else in baseball. He's got the best strikeout stuff. And here's the other thing. You don't need him to go very long. And he looks good first time through the order. So there's a couple of things that you can have. You can either start Dylan Cease and then see how far you get. Traditionally, treat him like a starter, have him go through. I think that scares a lot of people. See if you could go through the order twice with Dylan. Then get it to your bullpen. You could start Randy Vasquez if you want. And hope he doesn't doesn't get shelled, which he might. I mean, that's the thing. You don't know. It's the most innings he's ever pitched in a year. You don't know what you're getting out of Randy Vasquez. I thought he's done great all year, but you don't know what you're getting out of him. You could also you start Dylan Cease and then have him go through the order once, and then you go with Vasquez. I wouldn't mind that. I think that's a compromise of the two. And the other one, too, now here's the thing. I don't think Dylan Cease has what it takes to come out of the bullpen. I really don't. I think we saw that with the 3 days rest. I think there's certain players that can do that. I think Joe Musgrove can do that. Joe Musgrove is a F you, I'm going to get out there and give me your best guys, and we're getting after it pitcher. That's what Madison Bumgarner was. That's why Madison Bumgarner had so much success coming out of the bullpen for the Giants in those World Series runs. He didn't care. He's like, give me your best. I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to go. I think Yu Darvish is built up enough and mental enough, as a mental fortitude enough to be able to come out of the bullpen. I think Nick Pivetta, if asked to do that, would be able to do that. I don't want to see that, but I'm just saying in terms of players that we think could potentially do that. I'm not a big believer that Cease can do that. But if you have Cease start one of the games and then go Randy Vasquez and then get to the bullpen, I think that'd be better. I think that would be better. I would rather have Cease start than Randy start in a playoff game, and I'd let Randy face the team second time through. The other thing that you could do that was asked about, and again, I don't think Cease could come out of the bullpen. But if you have Dylan Cease, let's say in a perfect world, I think if you were playing a video game, I think if on paper, I think if you're not using any type of human influence, again, I don't. Pitchers are a lot like kickers. It's a different animal dealing with those guys with their routine and the way that they go about their. It's hard to go from a starter to a bullpen guy and vice versa. It's a different level of planning. Some guys can do it. Some guys can't. I'm not necessarily sure Dylan Cease can do it. But if he says he can and we think he can, here's the other thing you can do. And I do like this idea to an extent. Here's the other thing that they can do. If you decide to move Dylan Cease to the bullpen, right? That's just kind of the way we're going here. Let's think about it this way. When the Padres were at their best, what was going on? Their four horsemen were lights out, best bullpen in baseball. Good luck to everybody else that's trying to get a run off them. It was Adam. It was Estrada. It was Suarez. It was Morejon in any type of order, right? So you lose Jason Adam and you replace him with Mason Miller. You don't get Jason Adam this year. You got Mason Miller. That's kind of an upgrade right there. And I'm saying right now, the team would love to have Jason Adam right now. I'd love to see Jason Adam part of this bullpen. It's better with Mason Miller than Jason Adam or Mason Miller. So you still have a pretty good four horsemen. But then you think about like Jeremiah Estrada. Jeremiah Estrada's kind of been struggling. I don't want to see Jeremiah Estrada pitch at all this week and get him fresh and ready to go. Don't have him waste your time with the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I will say this. What if you replaced Estrada with Dylan Cease? Dylan Cease has wipeout stuff. Dylan Cease is the best strikeout through 9 per 9 in all of Major League Baseball for starting pitchers. The best. I said it before. I'll say it again. It's better than Paul Skeens. It's better than Tarek Skubal. It's better than any other pitcher who's had a good year. Anybody that's competing for a Cy Young, he's better than all of them. His walk rate sucks. Hey, Blake Snell won a Cy Young with having like the worst walk rate possible. You're asking Dylan Cease to get to the order one time. You're asking, really, Dylan Cease to just face their top 3 guys in one inning. Out of the bullpen with his wipeout stuff. Get after it. Throw over 100 miles an hour. Throw that slider over and over and over again. So now, in your back 4 innings, you can have Dylan Cease in the 6th. You can have Morahone in the 7th. You can have Mason Miller in the 8th. You can have Suarez in the 9th. You can flip it back and forth. All of a sudden, your bullpen looks a lot better. Now Estrada's being used earlier in the game. He doesn't have to be used late in the game when it matters. You still got guys like David Morgan. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't think the Padres will do it. I also don't think Dylan Cease is ready to be that guy. But it's very interesting, to say the least. I think Randy Vasquez is a good pitcher. I think he's got a bright future for the Padres. I don't necessarily know how I feel about him starting a playoff game. I especially don't like seeing him start a playoff game on the road. I think you've gotten a lot out of Randy Vasquez. I think you're asking a lot of him to do that. Randy Vasquez out of a bullpen spot like he did with the Dodgers, with Wandy Peralta, I thought he pitched well. He gave up runs. I mean, he's going to give up runs. And so is Dylan Cease, I guess. But if you go Dylan Cease first time through the order and then go to Randy Vasquez, I think that plays the most instead of just starting Randy Vasquez and instead of just starting Dylan Cease. We have tomorrow's show, Monday's show. We'll see what they do on Tuesday. I'm curious to see if Dylan Cease is even on the wild card roster if they're not going to use him as a starting pitcher. Or Randy Vasquez, for that matter. Maybe they go with more bullpen arms. But all part of the conversation that we're definitely going to have next week. When we come back, we're going to get you ready for fantasy football. We got an NFL game tonight. Eddie Brown will join us to finish up the show. Tomorrow, we will be live at Baja Rick's from 10 to 2 downtown. Come by, say hi. We look forward to seeing all you guys as we get you into Padres baseball for the weekend series against Arizona, who are now down 6-0 in the top of the 4th inning in Arizona. They probably won't be playing for anything by the time they roll into town. Ohtani just took Nabil Krismat deep. It's all Dodgers early in the top of the 4th, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on throughout the National League. Reds won today. Cubs and Mets will be on later this evening. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Eddie Brown will join us next on the Braden Surprenant Show, staying on Sports Station 97 through the Fan. $1:43 on a Thursday. We talk a little bit more football on Thursdays here on the Braden Surprenant Show. And with that, we'll get you ready for your fantasy football teams as we bring in our fantasy football insider from the Union Tribune, Eddie Brown. He writes for the Union Tribune for fantasy football, some draft coverage as well. Does some great work, and he joins us each and every Thursday to help you out in fantasy football. Eddie, what's going on? How's the teams doing in fantasy land?
Well, Brendan, I somehow eked out a win despite getting a 0 from CeeDee Lamb this last week. So I was pretty fortunate in that regard, but I'm sure a lot of people out there wasn't as lucky as I was.
Yeah, that's always fun when one of your star players gets hurt before he can even get you any points in fantasy football. Sports reporter for the San Diego Union Tribune. We're talking with Eddie Brown here on the Braden Surprenant Show. Let's talk about some of the big moves this week. Obviously, you saw the Bengals a little bit not to have Joe Burrow and how it implicated a lot of other weapons for the Cincinnati Bengals. What are some of the other big storylines from last week that impact fantasy football?
Yeah, I think the big one, at least as far as the waiver wire is concerned, was James Conner, suffering a terrible injury against the Niners. He's done for the season, so that pretty much means it's Trey Benson season. And he was available coming into the week in about half of all leagues, but I must play in a bunch of sharp leagues because he wasn't available in my league or my wife's league.
No.
But he's probably the number one guy out there on the waiver wire this week. I think he's an RB2 flex lock going forward with pretty much RB1 upside. They drafted the kid out of Florida State a couple of years back. He's a home run hitter. He catch the ball in the backfield. So if he is available, and I just checked right before I came on, he's still available about 20% of leagues out there. And they're playing tonight. So, people should rush to the waiver wire and see if he's available because he's the type of guy that could pretty much impact the rest of your season, especially if you're off to a 1-2 or 0-3 start.
I saw a popular name that popped up on, the waiver wire this week. It seems like Drake May's found a little bit of a safety net in New England. Hunter Henry has been added at a high level. He had a big week last week. What's the status on a couple of tight ends? I mean, it looks like a lot of teams are looking towards Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson, Zach Ertz, Jake Ferguson. They're kind of on a resurgence right now in the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, if Johnson's out there, go get him. I like Henry. I like Ertz. Those guys are both veteran guys who've done it multiple places. Henry is I think a top 3 in both PPR and standard formats after last week, and he's May's most reliable target. There's obviously a lot of talented receivers, a lot of young receivers in New England. May, since he took over the helm last year, has shown that he trusts Henry the most. The guy that I'm kind of still intrigued on is a rookie in Cleveland, Harold Fanning Jr. I know last couple of weeks the target share has dipped, but the playing time is still there. There's still a lot of volume in that pass game. The Browns are going to, in the weeks that their defense doesn't turn the game into a slugfest like they did last week against the Packers, there's going to be a lot of volume in that pass game, regardless of whether it's Flacco or one of the rookies throwing the ball. Fanning's still a borderline starter. And I think at some point, the Browns are probably going to end up trading David Njoku, who's a free agent after this season. So Fanning's going to have pretty much a straight runway at some point this season. And he's very talented. The kid can just find space like no other. He showed a pretty clear ability to do that last season in college. And so far, it's translated to the NFL.
We're talking with Eddie Brown, who writes for the San Diego Union Tribune, sports reporter for the SDUT, specialties, NFL draft, and fantasy football. He joins us every Thursday to get your fantasy football fix. We got our second of international games. Vikings and Steelers playing in Dublin this weekend, 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast. Got to get your rosters in a little bit earlier. That's obviously a major impact. But With the NFL moving to a lot more international games, and we talk about Thursday games too, but how does fantasy evaluators view in these international games? Is it an impact on fantasy numbers? Do we see less production in some of these international games? Is it something that people even need to worry about?
It's such a, I don't know. I kind of treat them like Thursday games. The rule for Thursday night games is that defenses and running backs are going to have the easier time because you don't have much time to prepare. It's a lot more fundamental what teams do with their run games, and it's obviously advantageous for the defense to have a short week and the offense not have a lot of time to prepare. So I kind of treat it in a similar fashion simply because these teams have to travel, thousands of miles compared to what they used to. And we've seen over the years that there can be even a dip in play if an East Coast team travels to the West Coast or a West Coast team has to travel to the East Coast for an early game. So there's some issues there. Also, sometimes you talk about the playing fields. Unless it's just an absolute stud, like it's hard to bench Justin Jefferson, on Sunday morning. But unless it's an absolute stud, I usually stay away from guys in overseas games just because you just never know how they're going to turn out. The field could be off, the travel could be off. Who knows? There's going to be a lot of issues. Injuries can flare up on the flight over. So it's kind of a, and also like you said, you got to be up real early to find out if if a guy is not active or whatever. And so I just try to save myself the trouble and get a couple of extra hours sleep.
Tennessee Titans haven't been playing very well, but their young rookie receiver from Stanford is off to a pretty good start. He has had a touchdown in each of the last 2 weeks. Alec Iomanor seems to be a little bit more of a target right now than Calvin Ridley. How much can you get play from a Titans team? Young quarterback and Cam Ward do have a couple of guys offensively, but a team that obviously is going to struggle this year. What to expect for anybody that hasn't been able to pick up Alec yet?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like what we were just talking about with the Browns. There's going to be some volume in the pass game, and obviously they want to, they want their rookie quarterback to be able to get some experience. So they're going to definitely put him in situations to try to succeed. Obviously that's going to be difficult year one. And so far you've seen a good connection with Iomanor. And I think it's going to also benefit Chiga Quanquo as far as tight ends. This week, I think he's going up against Texans. They've allowed like 15 receptions to tight ends this season. So I think he would be a good streaming option. But it's one of those things to where obviously people were disappointed with Ridley. I think I kind of look at him as a boom or bust candidate going forward. But somebody who I think actually will benefit is Tajay Spears, who's coming off the IR next week, because he can be utilized at the backfield and also, spare the pressure off a rookie quarterback in the run game.
Let's talk about some of the must starts, must sits this week. According to Eddie Brown, who are some players that you like this week? If you got them, who are some players that you might want to put on the bench this week if you want to win your week?
Yeah, I'm big on Packers wide receivers against the Cowboys. I think that's going to be a good spot for them. I think if you have Bears and Raiders, that's going to be a good game environment going back and forth in Vegas. I think the Colts and Rams could be kind of a sneaky good game environment. You got two offenses that have a lot of talented pieces there. And I'm big on Justin Fields if he's able to make it through the concussion protocol at Miami. I'm fading T. Higgins this week. That Bengals game was scary. I don't think obviously going forward they're going to be as bad as what they were. I think they kind of walked into a buzzsaw in Minnesota. But it's hard to think that Browning's going to be able to keep Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown all fantasy relevant after watching last week. And I'm thinking this is a week TreVeyon Henderson, maybe going forward. I think we start seeing the arrow point up for TreVeyon Henderson in New England with Ramondre Stevenson and his fumbleitis. I think at some point that's going to cost him a lot of touches, and we're going to see the dynamic Henderson take over there.
Fumbleitis, that's a great term. Yeah, he is suffering from fumbleitis right now. Our producer Frank, big Giants fan, he wants to ask a personal question about what is there any reason yet to buy into Cam Scatterbo as a fantasy running back?
Definitely. I mean, we saw how talented he was last year in college. If he's going to get the touches, and they're going to be in a young offense, it's difficult this week. I think it's a difficult week to trust Jackson Dart. fresh off the bench against a defense like the Chargers. I think that's going to be a difficult haul, even though they're at home. But I think Scatterbo, he's the type of guy who not only can run hard, but obviously it's the dual threat ability of catching the ball out of the backfield and making plays. And what do rookie quarterbacks do when they get scared and they freak out in the pocket? They look for their tight end, they look for their running backs. And Scatterbo is one of those guys that's already shown that he can make a play with the ball in his hands, and he's got a nose for the end zone. So I think, especially with Tyron Tracy being banged up, I think it's Dart and Scatterbo season in New York, and you're going to get a chance to see them go wild. Maybe even as soon as next week against the Saints.
Eddie, appreciate the time as always. Look forward to talking to you next week, and good luck to your Niners.
I appreciate it, Braden. You take care.
Eddie Brown, sports reporter for the San Diego Union Tribune, joins us each and every Thursday to talk fantasy football. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant signing off. It's another fun day. We got Padres baseball again tomorrow. Join us tomorrow live at Baja Ricks from 10 to 2. We'll lead you into Gwen and Chris. It'll be a fun live remote as the Padres will take on the Diamondbacks, final series of the season. Before we start talking about playoff baseball on Tuesday, for Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. This has been the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.